According to Psychology Today, quote, psychological manipulation can be defined as the exercise of undue influence through mental distortion and emotional exploitation, with the intention to seize power, control, benefits, and/or privileges at the victim's expense. Unquote. Now, I don't know about you, but that's one of the best descriptions of the Democrat Party that I've ever heard. The Democrats are creating as much anger and fear as possible, simply because there is no better way to manipulate the population. Joe Biden just said that his greatest concern is that Trump will try to steal this election.
It's my greatest concern, my single greatest concern. This president's going to try to steal this election.
How, Joe? It's not even possible for a president to do that in our system. Elections are held at the state level, and it's why the Electoral College is so important, but that's for another video. So why would Biden spew such nonsense? Because he knows that he can create some mental distortion. If he can get people to have an irrational fear about Trump stealing the 2020 election, that will motivate them to get out and vote for Democrats. This is the same reason why blacks fear cops so much. They have an irrational fear that a cop will murder them, when in reality, the chance is more than 100 times greater that a man who's not a cop will murder them. But that's why you never hear Democrats talk about statistics. They have no interest in calming that fear. That fear has political value. That fear can and will be used to further their agenda. That's emotional exploitation. Fear is so valuable to the Democrats that they've made it virtuous. Driving to work every day here in California, I see signs like this: avoid travel, stay at home, beat COVID-19. They're doing everything they can to scare you, so much so that they'll shame you or even arrest you. Even with states like California that are starting to reopen their economies, we're told that the people still sitting at home hiding from the virus are responsible citizens, while a guy who wants to keep his business afloat so he can pay his mortgage and feed his family is irresponsible and selfish. Political correctness and cancel culture are both built on fear. Every person who gets canceled is designed to instill fear into the rest of us. Just look at what they did to New Orleans Saints quarterback Drew Brees. He said that he will never agree with anyone disrespecting the flag of the United States of America. That's not even a controversial statement, but they turned it into him saying that he cares more about the flag than he does black people. That's how you exploit someone's emotions. I mean, how dare a person care more about a flag than another human being, right? The thing is, he was talking about the how and not the why. It's the same with rioting versus protesting. I will support your right to peacefully assemble over any grievance you have, even if I disagree with your grievance. But if you want to burn down the city in protest, it doesn't matter if I agree with you 100%. I will not support how you're protesting. That's all Brees said. I don't agree with how you're protesting. But they went after him to silence him. But not just him, to silence us. Fear is an effective way to silence dissent. The left can't silence us like they've traditionally done it throughout history, by government force, and that's where the fear of being canceled comes in. It's the fascists' way of adapting their tendencies to a capitalist country with our First Amendment. A good example of this is Black Lives Matter. We all know that the BLM movement is about much more than police brutality. It has to be, because we all agree that a cop who abuses his power should be held accountable. But speak out against BLM and they'll take what you say and make it seem like you don't care about black lives. You're actually not even allowed to make that distinction. And you can't dare say that all lives matter. And you definitely can't talk about black on black crime. Your only option is to agree that Black Lives Matter and shut up. They want you too scared to say anything else. They'll cancel you. Criticism is not allowed. Tucker Carlson recently lost major sponsors because he dared speak out against BLM. And corporate America fell right in line, donating nearly $500 million to social justice groups like BLM. Funny thing though, when you click on the donate button at BLM's website, it takes you to a page run by Act Blue. If their name doesn't give them away, they're an organization that helps people raise funds for democratic causes. I got this from their website. Powering Democratic candidates, committees, parties, organizations, and C4s around the country. You see, People who are upset at Democrat-controlled cities for the way they police their communities use a Democrat organization like Act Blue to help get more Democrats elected. Because obviously the problems are created by Republicans. The only way this can be explained is psychological manipulation, because it doesn't make any sense. Democrats control a city for decades. The people living in that city say that the police are racist and want change. Groups are formed to facilitate that change. Hundreds of millions of dollars are donated to these groups. And what are they going to do with that money? See to it that more Democrats get elected nationwide? It's irrational. Fear is an emotion that alerts us of the presence of danger. It can stem from real threats, and it can stem from imagined threats. And fear can make you act irrationally, like advocating for big government in the name of liberation, or wanting a police-free society in the name of safety. All the while, never talking about the real reason why so many young black men find themselves in confrontations with the police. They don't have a father around. I'll let Mr. Washington break it down for you.
It was something I read where you talked about your people from Mount Vernon saying that, you know, like they've done like 40 years in the penitentiary together. So, and, you know, incarceration rates in America has been a problem, especially as opposed to minorities. And Roman delves into the issues around the legal system. Do you think we've made any headway in the
I
legal
think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know, I was in Chicago a couple of 3-4 weeks ago, and we saw these little kids on bikes with masks on the side of their head, like 5 or 6 of them. And the driver said, "Yeah, they're little yummies." I said, "Who?" He said, "Little yummies. Look up, Google Lil Yummy." Lil Yummy was an 11-year-old murderer.
Wow.
And you look at his picture, you'll see the headshot of him, and he's like this. And he got murdered at 11 by a 14-year-old.
Wow.
Who's doing life now, and a 16-year-old.
That makes no sense.
You blame the system? Where was his father?
Yeah.
It starts in the house. It starts in the home. And yeah, well, my father got locked up. Well, where was his father?
Yeah.
You know, like I did talk about my 3 closest friends, and they did, you know, 15 to 25. One did 28, this and that. I was the only one of the 3 that had a father in my life, even though my parents were together. But I still had a father who was a gentle man and a good example, and they didn't. We can blame the system if we want, but they didn't lock any of us up at 7.
Yeah.
We were all doing enough to get locked up at 13. My parents sent me in another direction. They didn't have anybody to help them, and they kept doing what they was doing, and the system got them.
And the system got them. As long as we ignore the real reason for the plight of young black men in this country, Democrats will continue to take advantage of it for political purposes, while their plight will continue to get worse. And that's the simple truth. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you want to become a supporting member of Blue Collar Logic, click on the link in the description and give what you can.